If you have been paying attention to the award circuit this season, you already know that there is one person to be paying attention to because she is dominating. Jessie Buckley in Hamnet. I mean, Critics' Choice, Golden Globe, BAFTA, and then depending when this video comes out, Oscar win? Most people think she's already won. She had very specific artistic choices, and those choices are turning this film into something that people are saying is just a generational movie. And guess what? Every single one of those choices is something you can learn, study from, and apply to your own work. And if you stay with me until the very end, I'll tell you how you can apply Jessie's strategies to make strides in your own acting career. 5 lessons, let's go. The training behind the truth. What RADA really teaches you from someone who actually went there. Okay, I have to start here because most people covering this performance out there on the interwebs most likely aren't including this bit of information because they just don't know it. And once you know it, everything she does in this film makes total sense. So Jessie Buckley and I have something in common. We both studied at the same conservatory, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, in London. And I think that training is absolutely all over what she does in this role. Here's what I mean. RADA has a lot of very specific philosophies around acting that very much differs from American training. The American tradition typically leans into more emotions. It's all about the psychological, going inward, mining out these memories that you have as the character. All that stuff is valuable. I use it, but it's a little different coming from RADA. A lot of the British classical tradition comes from the body. It starts with text. It starts with the physical reality of the character in the space they're in, their environment. And it builds the character from the outside in rather than the inside out. You find the physical truths and how the character operates first, and then you follow that as your through line. The emotion will follow that train, which is exactly what Buckley does at every single turn in this movie. She does not start with the, oh, how do I feel losing a child? She starts off with the technical of what does a body do when they start grieving a child? What happens to the breath? What happens to the hands? Do they start to shake? What happens to the stillness in that moment? The freezing, the gasping. I mean, we are in the most intense fight or flight experience you can be in your body. And here's why that matters to you. Because whether you trained at RADA or you trained at a community college or you've never had an acting class in your life, the lesson here is not go to London and start to act. The lesson is start your scene work not from emotion, but from your body first. Your body is going to end up being a vessel for the emotion. And it's ultimately how you end up finding the emotion. Every single thing we're going to talk about today basically comes back to this one idea. So boop, keep it in your back pocket, okay? So let's talk about the scream. Okay, I have to talk about the scene because it is the part that everyone's talking about. And I mean it for good reason because Agnes in this scene, obviously played by Jessie, like I've never seen something so visceral on a screen before. And I mean that quite literally. Most actors, and I've seen it in acting classes or workshops, or I've even done it myself before, when you have a grief scene, a scene all about grief, your brain immediately goes, oh, I should cry. Let me think my way into that. You start working towards the tears. You set up the emotion, you find some memories for your character, whatever it is, you start working towards crying. That makes sense, right? I mean, like grief equals crying. Sure, that's what we've been taught. But this is what Jessie Buckley did instead, and I want you to really hear this. She found the physical truth of what grief looks like in the body. Not the cinematic version with nice, beautiful waterworks that we can catch the light on, the real version. Her body was shutting down. She was freezing, going completely still. She would go completely silent as well in her screams. It was as if her body was trying to protect her from what was happening. And that would be for like a second, and then basically all of the emotion and sound would just come crashing back and into the microphone, out of the speakers, and into our ears. I mean, she's just gasping for air, releasing these absolutely guttural screams. It's not pretty crying or like dignified sobbing. She was accessing something quite primitive. Her body was trying to protect itself from itself. It was horrifying to watch. And of course, you can't look away. And here's a lesson. Jessie found that the grief does not just announce itself quite neatly. It does not flow out of a person. It comes in crashing waves. It freezes you, and then somehow you're gasping, and it is not one emotion. It is a full body shutdown. And then it's rebooting, and then it's in shock, and then it's in denial, and then it's in agony. So the difference between a performance that makes you feel something versus a performance that makes you feel like you're just witnessing someone else feel something is almost always related to this. It's specificity of the physical experience. Buckley did not just play sad. She played the physical experience of going through a traumatic shutdown within your own body. And that's a completely different instrument to play. So the next time you're in an emotional scene, and I tell this to my students all the time, is find out what is happening with your body in this moment. Where is the breath going in me physically? Where is it stopping? Because your body will know the truth of a situation before your emotions do. Start there. And this is a part where I see a lot of newer actors tend to struggle, and it's not necessarily because they're not talented, it's just because they haven't been told how to access these parts yet. How to work the body in the scene, how to find physical truth and not just push your emotions. And that's the gap between the actor who auditions, maybe even gets a call back, and an actor that actually books. And it's exactly why I don't just teach acting, I teach the full toolkit for people. So if you're an actor yourself and you want to build these tools into your toolkit, I'd love to work with you. Click the link in the description. I'd love to set up a call and get to meet. All right, let's keep going. Leaning into not knowing. It's the counterintuitive key to accessing big emotions. So here's something that Jessie Buckley said in an interview that I just want to circle back to. So in the interview, she was talking about how she approaches the grief that is in this film. And this is what she says. I always have to have a level of unknowability. To touch that grief, I was like, I don't know where to go. Most people are going to hear that and be like, sounds like she doesn't prepare. It's like she is saying, ooh, I show up without a plan. But that's obviously not what she means at all. Actually, what she is describing is one of the most articulate ways to describe approaching emotional material. She is saying, if I know how this scene is going to land, then I have already closed the door on the truth of what this experience is. Because the real thing is always a little bit unknown. You have to leave room for that unexpected response that's going to come through, and the camera's going to pick it up. It is the thing that your body does in the scene that you did not plan for it to do. Because that is where the truth usually lives. And man, have I been in that exact trap before, because I had a super emotional scene on set once. And I came in being like, I know exactly how this is going to roll. Basically mapped out the entire thing in my head. I knew where it was going. I knew exactly what I wanted to feel. I had my beat changes all set up, marked out in my script. And that scene landed with all of the emotions of a grocery list. Because I was just executing a plan. I was not actually in it, living in the moment. So here's a lesson you can take away. Preparation should be opening doors for you, not deciding on how they are going to be and closing them. When you do your scene work, you're not building this machine that you are just going to operate. It's more like you're building a little well, and then the day of, you're just going to boop, drop yourself in there and see what happens that day. You don't overplan the emotion, you plan the intention. And then you let the emotion surprise you based off of those intentions. So here's your little mirror for yourself. Do you have a scene coming up? And in that prep work for that scene, are you planning how you're going to feel, or are you actually planning the intentions of the character? What that character wants? Because what it boils down to is this. One of those is acting. The other one is just waiting around, waiting to feel something. The spontaneous hand. Trusting the moment instead of manufacturing it. We are in the final scene. And I need you to hear this one because I think it is the best example in the entire film of what fantastic acting looks like. At the end of Hamnet, the movie, Agnes goes to see the play Hamlet, you know, the one that William Shakespeare wrote. And in the movie, obviously, Hamlet is inspired by the death of their son, Hamnet. And this is the climax of the entire film. It's the emotional payoff of absolutely everything. And what's so interesting is that the director, Chloe, described the entire ending being planned in this huge, massive way. Cranes, the Globe Theater, this enormous cinematic moment to match everything we've just been through as an audience. And they scrapped it all. Because what happened next is this. In the moment, Jessie Buckley just reaches out her hand towards Hamlet. This wasn't planned. It was spontaneous. No plan. No blocking. She just reached. And that gesture, that simple, quiet reaching towards Hamlet, became the ending to the entire film. So in the movie, Jessie Buckley's character Agnes has a psychic ability. When she's able to touch people's hands, she can basically read them. She sees things, she feels things, and it's all the stuff that other people just can't around her. And in that final moment, she reaches out, she grabs the actor playing Hamlet's hand, and she just sees it all. She sees her son, she sees what her husband built. She feels loss, she feels love, she feels gratitude and grief, all at the same time. And Jessie Buckley does not push it. She does not perform that realization for us. She just holds it. She trusts the audience. She trusts that we know what's happening. She trusts the entire film plot that came before it. And because she trusts it all, we feel it so much more than if she just groveled to the ground, completely losing herself, sobbing. And this is something I talk about with my students all the time. Do not overland the plane. The audience is smart. They have been on this journey with you. When you get to that final moment, it is not your job to tell them how to feel. Your job is to just be in that moment so truthfully and fully that they just feel it too. Buckley didn't need cranes and huge shots of the Golden Globe Theater. She just needed her hand to reach out. So if this video is hitting for you too, please go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps other actors find me on this platform. Final lesson, fever writing. This is the night before prep technique that really helps this film. And this is something you can actually go home and just try tonight. So Jessie Buckley tried a process during this filming called fever writing. The night before a big scene, she would just sit down and write. Not in a structured way, not in a character analysis way, not scene breakdowns, not notes on her objectives, just write. Stream of consciousness. It's whatever came up, whatever she was feeling about the material, about Agnes, about whatever they are going to shoot. And here's the part that blew my mind is some of those writings actually turned into scenes in the movie. I mean, talk about director, actor, writer collaboration here. The night before, they shot the scene in the movie where William Shakespeare comes back to his family right after Agnes had lost her child, Hamnet. Buckley was writing about birth and loss. And she landed on this image of Agnes's skin like a fragile little egg. And the next day, she pitched the idea to the director about her character peeling boiled eggs in the scene. And it made it in. That's in the final film. An Oscar-nominated performance, maybe even won by the time this video is out, has a scene in it that just came from a stream of consciousness writing. Now, I want to be clear about what this is and what this is not. This is not just improvising the day of and hoping that Chloe Zhao's cool with it. She had to communicate with her director. This is preparation that helped to open up doors that no one even thought were there in the first place. Jessie Buckley came to set so prepared. She was living in the character and coming from experiences inside of her that weren't even in the written material. These aren't choices and ideas that are just from the outside looking in. How do we make it look good? So here's what this means for you practically. Journaling about your character is not just a drama school exercise that you have to do. But what it can be is a direct pipeline to you and the character inside of you to use as a tool for yourself. Because the information you're mining is coming from you, not just some technique textbook. So the next time you have a big scene coming up, try this. The night before, just write. Not about what the character thinks, about what you feel in the circumstances of that role. This is coming from you. These are journal entries about you when you inhabit this person. No structure, no agenda, just see what comes up for yourself. You might be surprised what you bring in for the scene work the next day. So if you watch this video and you're thinking to yourself, I loved all this information, but I just don't know how to get there. That is exactly what I do for actors. And it's the exact conversation I want to have with you. So go ahead and click the link in the description. Let's have a call. I want to help you build a roadmap for yourself so that you can have performances like Jessie Buckley and not just be watching from the outside. And go ahead and give me a comment down below. What was your favorite scene from Hamnet? I'm really curious. and go ahead and check out one of these videos next. More actor content for you. Okay, guys, I'll see you next time. Mwah!